This is the kind of news that stops everyone in their tracks. We all went to bed on Christmas Day thinking about rice, chicken, and family gatherings, but we woke up to the sound of American fighter jets and a statement that has shaken the entire diplomatic foundation of Nigeria. The headline is not a rumor. It is not fake news. The President of the United States, Donald Trump, has confirmed that the U.S. military has conducted airstrikes on Nigerian soil. We're talking about direct military intervention in northwest Nigeria, specifically targeting what Trump calls ISIS Terrorist Scum. This is huge. For decades, we have talked about foreign assistance, intelligence sharing, and buying Super Tucano jets. But what happened last night, Christmas night, was different. This wasn't the Nigerian Air Force dropping bombs with U.S. intelligence. This was the U.S. Department of War, as Trump calls it, taking matters into their own hands, albeit reportedly with the permission of the Nigerian government. The statement released by President Trump on his Truth Social platform is aggressive, it is direct, and it is very specific about why this happened. He didn't mince words. He said, and I quote, "Tonight, at my direction as Commander-in-Chief, the United States launched a powerful and deadly strike against ISIS terrorist scum in northwest Nigeria." But here's the part that is causing a massive stir across the internet this morning. Trump explicitly linked this attack to the protection of Christians. He said these terrorists have been viciously killing primarily innocent Christians at levels not seen for many years. He went further to say he had warned the terrorists that if they didn't stop, there would be hell to pay. And frankly, looking at the reports coming out of Sokoto and Kebbi states this morning, hell is exactly what visited those camps last night. The imagery of U.S. precision missiles hitting targets in the Nigerian bush on Christmas Day is something we haven't seen before. And Trump signed off his message in typical fashion. Merry Christmas to all, including the dead terrorists. Now, we need to unpack the who and the where. The strikes were concentrated in the Northwest. For those of you following the security situation in 2025, you know the Northwest has become the new epicenter of terror. We aren't just talking about the bandits of 2023 anymore. We are talking about a group that the locals call Lakurawa. This is a group linked to ISIS in the Sahel that crossed over from Nigeria Republic into Sokoto and Kebbi. They aren't just kidnapping for ransom. They are imposing ideologies, they are well armed, and they have been terrorizing communities. It seems these are the specific ISIS scum Trump is referring to. The U.S. intelligence apparatus has likely been tracking the Lakurawa movement for months, watching them embed themselves in local communities and recruit frustrated youths. The timing of this strike is surgical. Christmas Day. It sends a psychological message. While the terrorists might have thought the world was distracted by the holidays, the U.S. military was watching from the skies. Reports from the Pentagon, confirmed by Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth, indicate that these were perfect strikes. Hegseth added a chilling note: the Department of War is always ready, so ISIS found out tonight on Christmas. He also thanked the Nigerian government for their support and cooperation. This brings us to the most controversial part of this story, the Nigerian government's role. There's a delicate dance happening here. On one hand, President Trump's rhetoric makes it sound like he lost patience with the killings of Christians and decided to act. He said, "I have previously warned these terrorists." It sounds unilateral, but the U.S. Africa Command and Nigerian officials are scrambling to clarify that this was done at the request of the Nigerian government. Why is this distinction important? Because of sovereignty. No country wants to look like a foreign power can just fly in and bomb its territory whenever it pleases. By stating that Nigeria requested it, they are trying to frame it as a partnership rather than an intervention. But let's be honest, when the President of the United States says he did it because Christians were slaughtered, it changes the narrative from security cooperation to religious protection. I want to pause here for a second because this is a lot to digest. How do you feel about the U.S. military conducting airstrikes directly on Nigerian soil? Do you see it as a welcome relief that someone is finally dealing with these terrorists? Or are you worried about what this means for our national independence? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. I really want to read your perspective on this. And please, if you're getting value from this breakdown, smash that like button right now. It helps us navigate the algorithm and bring this news to more Nigerians. If you haven't subscribed yet, please click that subscribe button and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss the updates on this developing story. Let's look deeper into the target, the Lakurawa group. Throughout 2025, we have seen reports of this group acting with impunity in Sokoto. They started as peacekeepers protecting locals from bandits, but like a virus, they mutated. They started imposing strict laws, collecting zakat, and brutally punishing anyone who defied them. Security analysts like Zagazola Makama have been warning about the convergence of these bandits with ISIS ideology. It seems the US saw this threat not just as a Nigerian problem, but a global one. If ISIS establishes a caliphate in northwest Nigeria, it destabilizes the entire West African region. But we must also address the Christian angle Trump emphasized. The reality in northwest Nigeria is complex. Both Muslims and Christians have suffered terribly at the hands of bandits and terrorists. Whole Muslim communities have been sacked, imams have been kidnapped, and mosques have been attacked. Just look at the Christmas Eve bombing in Maiduguri we discussed earlier. However, the narrative in Washington, specifically within the Trump administration, has heavily focused on the persecution of Christians. This strike is Trump delivering on a campaign promise to his base. He's showing that he is the defender of the faith, even if it means launching missiles into West Africa. This might create some tension internally in Nigeria as it frames the war on terror through a religious lens, which is always a sensitive topic here. The reaction on the streets of Nigeria is mixed. In the affected communities in Sokoto and Zamfara, frankly, the people don't care who is dropping the bombs, whether it's a Nigerian Alpha jet or an American Reaper drone, as long as the terrorists are neutralized. They want peace. They want to go to their farms. If Trump's Department of War can clear the forest that our local forces have struggled with, the locals will likely celebrate. But in the halls of power in Abuja, there must be some unease. Relying on a foreign power to clear your backyard is a sign that the local capacity is overwhelmed. It admits a vulnerability. We are also hearing that this might just be the beginning. Defense Secretary Hegseth said, more to come. Does this mean we will see a sustained U.S. air campaign in northern Nigeria in 2026? Will we see U.S. Special Forces boots on the ground advising our troops? The global war on terror seems to have opened a new front in our backyard. For the families of the victims of these terrorists, this news brings a grim sense of justice. Trump's message to the dead terrorists might sound harsh to some, but to a father who watched his family slaughtered, it probably sounds like justice. The hell to pay that was promised has arrived. As we move into the final days of 2025, the security landscape of Nigeria has fundamentally changed. We are no longer fighting this war in isolation. The big guns have entered the chat. We will be monitoring the fallout of these strikes, the casualty figures, the identity of the terrorist commanders killed, and the reaction from the Nigerian military hierarchy. Stay tuned, stay safe, and keep your eyes open. This story is far from over.